Welcome back to AFTV, everyone. Welcome to the Starting 11 show. Sevilla face Arsenal tonight, and it is the third game of the Champions League group stage. Things are getting really serious now. Here to predict what the starting 11 will be, tell us what they want it to be, and then react when it comes out is Sharoy, Turkish, Robbie, and Laurie. And a round of applause for everyone. Yeah, there we go. What did you think? Maybe I'd change my ways or something, but no.
You do you.
It's a Tuesday night, you know. Why
you
not?
don't do the applause thing, do you?
Nah, man, I see you, man, every day. Why are we clapping each other? Like, I don't get it.
It's a bit like, you know when you're on a plane?
Yeah.
You're coming to land, innit? Yeah.
I don't clap that either, man.
Yeah, fun that, man. You know what I mean?
You remind me of, you know, Roy Keane when he's just like, he's doing his job.
That's it, he's doing it. It's his job. It's his job.
Oh, well, let's start with you, Turkish. Pressure's up tonight.
Yeah.
Big one.
Yeah, it's a must not lose, that's for sure. Edging on a must win, if I'm honest.
Okay, where do you sit on the draw, though? You know, it still leaves us in control.
No, a draw's a good result as long as we do them at the Emirates. You get 4 points out of 6 out of the next 2 games against Sevilla, and we're in a very good place to qualify from the group. A win tonight, I think we're more or less there. It's just fighting for that first place.
Okay.
But, you know, I'll take a draw as long as we, turn them over at the Emirates.
Echo, by you sure?
I actually think this is a bit of a must-win. And I say that because I'm not sure where the rest of the fixtures in this group fall in terms of the Premier League season, but I'm looking at this now. Coming off the back of a loss against Lens, we've got Sheffield this weekend, and there's a good gap between then and now, right? So I think we really should be going full pelt now, trying to cement that result. And I don't like leaving things to chance, because if these other games fall at somewhat of a crunch time at the rest of the season, and you're already in a must-win position at the group stages, you don't really want to be full tilt this early in the tournament. And there was, not from me, but there was a lot of talk when we had the draw that this was a bit of a Europa League group. And if you remember on the supporters club, I said, well, we didn't do that well in the Europa League, and we need to rectify our away European form, right? So I'm looking at the Premier League. Fulham, we drop points. We think it's a mistake. We don't learn from it. 2-2 against Tottenham, 2-2 against Chelsea. We've made a mistake against Lens here. We need to rectify that immediately to change the perception of us in this tournament. Yeah. People were talking about us as one of the front runners given our domestic form in this competition, talking about how the rest of Europe might have dropped a little. Well, let's go and prove it.
Well, yeah, I mean, Arteta actually does have something to prove in Europe. I mean, okay, a win against PSV. We started the Champions League group stage brilliantly, Robbie, but things didn't go right in Lens. And let's be honest, we didn't. Lens were very good there. We had our chances, but they deserved it. They played really well. So now the pressure's on, but like Sharoy alluded to there, this isn't just getting the win because, we need it to get some sort of control in the group. It gives us perhaps a little bit of advantage going into future games and the Premier League situation. But also Arteta needs to show everyone he can crack this European thing, especially away from home.
Yeah, well, our away record hasn't been great, has it, in Europe. So this would be the perfect game to go and get a win. But it's not going to be an easy game. It's a difficult game, man. All of a sudden, I think if we'd have played this game a few weeks ago, I'd be looking on it and thinking, I think we'd be all right. But they've changed their manager. So, and you saw at the weekend, they had a little bounce. They drew with Real Madrid. Yeah. So that's like, I'm almost glad that happened because that's a little wake-up call for Arsenal. If you think this is going to be an easy game, if you think you're going to go there and it's just going to be a walk in, well, I don't think they would think it would have been a walk in the park anyway, but if you think it's going to be anything but a tough game, that's a reminder that it will be a tough game. And Sevilla, there'll be a full house there. Their fans are passionate. It's a really difficult place to go to. So I think Arsenal really put in a good display. Can't afford to start off like how we did at the weekend. What I mean? I was at Stamford Bridge and it was very lackluster to start. Even the start, I was at Lens as well. That start was a bit lackluster, although I do think in that game, Lens really, they was clinical. They had a couple of chances, they took them, and then defended really, really well. But I'd like to really see Arsenal try and get at Sevilla today. They're an old team. If you look at their age profile, it's a pretty, they've got a lot of experience. In players like Ramos and Rakitic and that, but they're quite an old side, and I think they can be got at. So, and like you said, Sharoy, a lot to prove in this Europe. For Mikel Arteta, you know what I mean? As well as he's done in the Premier League in Europe, it's not really been good enough, has it?
No, I agree. Where do you sit on the must-win side of things?
I don't think it's a must-win. I think if we got a draw out of this, it would be a decent point because I do fancy us at home against Sevilla. I fancy us at home against Lens as well.
But I think
can't afford to lose it. You know what I mean? Because then, if we lose the game, we put ourselves under a lot of pressure. Then now we're going to have to go and win a few games, and you know, I really think we can't afford. A draw wouldn't be a terrible result, but if they could get a win, it'd be a fantastic result.
We have to top this group, Rob.
Sorry?
We have to top this group.
Yeah.
You look at that draw. If we go through second, I'd be very upset.
I wouldn't. I'd like to go through top, but I've seen over the last few years in the Champions League, man, topping the group don't necessarily mean that you're going to get a lesser team in the next round. Do you know what I mean?
Percentages. You're less likely if you top the group to get an elite team in the next round.
No, I think we can draw and still top the group. I think we can draw this because the fact that they've all kind of been taking points off each other already. I think we can draw this. Beat Lons, beat
7 out of the next 9.
Yeah, basically.
We should be top of the group.
Yeah, that's essentially where I am with it. Laurie, just very lastly on the must-win thing, yes or no?
I'm erring on the side of caution. It's a must not lose, and
Yeah, that's why I am.
the reason why I say that as well is because ironic. Because when the names came out of the hat for this group, I distinctly remember, and some of them were on AFTV as well, saying it was an easy group, we're bound to get through and all that. And I was saying, you know, if you look at our record in Europe, it's not been great. What gives you the confidence to think that we're just going to go and steamroller these teams, even though Lons, Seville, and
It's an easy group. When you look
everything's relative, yeah.
When you
can
look
say
at the
that.
groups that are there, I hear what you are right that we should never be complacent and feel that, you know, because every team that's in the Champions League is in there for a reason. They're good sides, right? But on the grand scheme of things, on the teams that we could have got,
Easier, not easy.
we're supposed to do well in a group like this.
I sort of described it as a Europa League group, but all three of those teams would be the best team you'd get in a Europa League group. In the way Man United has Sociedad last year, we had PSV last year. Any
The
one
Europa
of the
League knockout teams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that makes them all sticky, awkward, difficult away games. But Arsenal have to come through because they didn't.
I think what you could
against
say,
Lens.
let's face it, wasn't the group of death. However, if you compare that with our record in Europe over the past couple of years, we have no right to say we're just going to go to these teams and steamroller them.
No.
So when I was hearing people say things like, yeah, let's get the group one early, then we can start resting players, I'm like, are you sure, bro? Mm-hmm. And so here we are. So it's a definite, we need a result. I would stop short of saying it's a must win, but we definitely can't afford to lose it.
Yeah, agreed. Let's go through some of the key positions that have been hotly debated. I was watching Big Six and I was seeing a lot of the debates around Odegaard, Jesus, the Raya Ramsdale thing, even within the fan base. I mean, we're seeing 11s go out. We're going to show our fans 11 in a sec. People have been sending in by downloading the AFTV Plus app, building their 11 on the 11 predictor, and you can let us know on social media what you go for, and we'll bring them up here on the show. Let us know in the comment section below. I've lost my train of thought now saying that. So a lot of the key positions, I was seeing 11s go out with Havertz up front and Jesus out of the team. I was seeing people saying, you know, Odegaard's not having a good season, he needs to come out for a little bit. And I was sort of thinking like, yeah, we're not at our best, but I think these players are the answer to, I think they're the part of the solution, I don't think they're the problem. Sharoy, any drastic changes you'd make? Or let's start with the Jesus one.
Memories are short, man.
It's kind of where I was with all this.
Memories are short. I mean, the idea that you can criticise Odegaard as a player throughout his tenure at Arsenal, for me, is farcical. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, he's been quiet in certain games, but there's no question about the quality that guy has and the fact that when he performs, this team ticks the way it needs to. If you're looking at the 9 position, people saying that Havertz ought to come in instead of Jesus. When has Havertz played in the 9 this year? He played City in the Community Shield, and he looked all right when he came on against City. Held up the ball quite nicely. We're talking about Gabriel Jesus here. Do you remember what happened when he came on against Man United?
Yeah, I know.
United defenders were soiling themselves, turned the game on its head. You know, so I'm not questioning the positions. I'm just saying I'm questioning why they're not necessarily performing to the level. I don't see that those substitutes are any better than them for the starting 11. It's Arteta's job now to ensure that whatever's not been going right rectifies itself in this match because they're quality players.
Sharoy's got the most perfect click. Have you heard? You know, it's like when he's making a point. No. It's like it really makes the point. The Jesus chat. I don't know Turkish. I just you
I was surprised by it, but what you're saying it's on Twitter as well.
Yeah, I'm seeing 11s with either Trossard in the false 9 or Havertz up top, and I'm like,
Get Eddie in
I
there.
mean, you made the point yourself. He's played one
That's
game.
why you're on different sofas. That's why you're on different
missing.
sofas, right there.
No, you can't. Listen, you can't disrespect Jesus. I know it
We've got one here. To be fair, he's got Jesus out on the right. This was Campbell Lloyd's Arsenal 11. He sent in via the app.
No Saka. Come on, man.
No Saka, Smith Rowe in for Ødegaard. And look, that's not a bad 11, right? I rate the players that are out there. But my thing is, it's like quite a change, isn't it? From Ødegaard and Jesus, who are at the heart of some of our best attacking football last year, with Jesus down the middle, Saka scoring the goals. Maybe he thinks Saka's not quite fit enough.
That changes the entire right-hand side. Smith Rowe is drifting out, and Jesus is on that flank. What was one of our primary strengths last season? That right-hand side.
It's interesting because I'm seeing Ødegaard coming for quite a bit of criticism. I did the fan cams on Saturday, and I noted that Dan Potts, shout out to Dan Potts if you're watching, by the way, he was very critical of Ødegaard, and he was basically saying, and I'm paraphrasing, he was saying, look, Ødegaard, when there's been big games, he's tended to have gone missing, which is not something I agree with, but the point I'm making is I'm noticing Ødegaard is coming in for a lot of criticism right now.
Yeah, he had a bad game on Saturday.
A lot of people did.
But most of the team had a bad game. The only person to me, even Declan Rice.
Is it because he's captain?
I thought the first half Declan Rice was having a bad game as well. He was just in the second half now. It's almost like he said, nah, and then he just took it upon himself and he was brilliant. So a lot of players had a poor game. Listen, Martin Ødegaard starts all day long. He's our captain, he's absolute quality. And some players, sometimes they have a bad game, you know what I mean?
Is it because he's captain he's getting?
No, of course not. He's been captain
No, I'm saying, is it because he's captain?
No, it's because I think the standards are high with a player like that, and we always expect him to deliver, right? So, you know what I mean? He's the bar is high with a player like that. So even if he has a game and he doesn't, he doesn't really sort of do something significant. But he's a top player, man, and
I think the criticism is driven by the pressure coming from down there, which is that James Maddison is playing out of his skin, and he was a player that not only we could have got maybe when we signed Ødegaard, but he's a player we could have got in the summer to maybe complement. That is something I've wanted for a while before I ended up at Tottenham. The thing is, though, and I'm not going to start here and start reinventing Ødegaard. He's not a 10, if that. I mean, as in he can be, but he's not playing there for Arsenal. He's always drifted out to the right, and his job is to influence things on that side, and then whether it's Havertz, Vieira, Rice, so it's their job to influence things on the left, like Xhaka. That's why Xhaka got 7 goals, 7 assists. So even though he presses from the front, that's kind of the only time you see him too central. Now, that is going to take away from how often he's getting into those pockets and make things happen. I'd like to see him do more of that. I'd like to see him get more involved. But I do think Arteta's kind of changed his role a little bit, and I feel a bit sorry for him in that sense, because off the ball he works supremely hard, and on it he's got to bring the likes of Saka and White into play much more than constantly feed our striker. Obviously he's got to do a little bit of that, but not quite as much.
But that's what I think is not being talked about enough, and I understand, obviously, listen, sometimes you offer an opinion and people act like it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
But I've seen a tactical tweak or two have an effect on the team this season. So we can discuss Jesus, we can discuss Saka, we can discuss Ødegaard, we can discuss pretty much everyone bar maybe Gabriel, Saliba and Rice, and say, are they performing at the same level as they was last season? And the answer is unanimously no. So it is, you mentioned it is on Arteta more than it is on any other player, and that includes even Havertz, who is a summer signing that has been taken out in our last couple big games, where you'd expect that level of output and financially to have in those big games. Yeah. So there's Arteta, there needs to be something fixed in there, and at this moment in time, this game is massive because it's the third of only 6 games in the Champions League. Yeah. With the league, you have maybe a longer period to iron out, what you want to do. In the Champions League now, we don't.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You got to be good enough, whether you're at your best or not, to get through it in the Champions League. In the Premier League, I mean, we keep talking about Arsenal not being at the very best. Man City probably didn't get to their best till February last season. The thing is, they've been there and done it, so there was never any questions as to whether they'd get there. Everyone kept saying, well, they'll put a win of sort of 12 wins in a row. We know that's going to happen. With Arsenal, there are those doubts because we've only seen one season of that level. But Arsenal do have to get to a certain level today, Robbie, where it's like Sevilla away. This isn't easy. I know they're not having the best season, but we saw. Did they knock out Man United last season? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Well, De Gea knocked out Man United.
De Gea mistakes in that game, but that game. Remember, the atmosphere in that stadium, it was rocking. You know what I mean? It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a difficult game. These teams lift it up for. When I was at Lens, you could see from early on in the day, man, that they're treating that game like a cup final. That was a huge game for them. Right, Sevilla, obviously they played at the top table for a long time, but playing Arsenal it's a massive game for Sevilla.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, so this is a huge game for them. So this is going to be a proper game tonight where Arsenal are going to have to be on it. And I'm looking to players like Odegaard. You know, I mean, Odegaard used to play in Spain, did well over there for Real Sociedad, right? These are the sort of games where I'm looking to players like him to really step it up.
Yeah.
You know, we've got to have a better performance than we did at the weekend. I'll give that one a slight pass because it's just after the international break. But now, this is their chance. It's almost like, I think this game's coming at a good time. Because it's almost like a chance. They had in the end, it was almost like a bit of a positive because of the comeback. But now, what can we do to kick it on? You know what I mean? To say, right, let's get back in the groove. Because there were a lot of flat players. Jesus, I was like, that's not the Jesus I know. You know what I mean? He looked really flat. Was that all the travelling he had to do because he's away with Brazil or whatever? But he looked so flat. Odegaard looked so flat, you know. Even as I said, even in the first half, Declan Rice, and a lot of them have been on international duty and played games, did that. So I'm looking for a better performance from them today. And this is a big test for Arsenal. Big test in Europe, away from home, at a team that's got a lot of pedigree. Not an easy game.
A poll we're running, which I think we've run probably once, twice, or maybe 30 times before already. Ramsdale, Raya, who starts tonight?
Ramsdale. Raya's going to probably start, but for me, I said it when I was after the game on Saturday, right? After Raya's performance, this is the perfect opportunity to play Ramsdale. You play Ramsdale tonight, you say it's Champions League, Raya take a and then if Ramsdale does really well, then he plays on Saturday. That's how I'd be, look, if this rotation thing is real, but it ain't, is it?
No, it's not real. It's not. Raya's is number one. I would start Ramsdale today. Ramsdale would be the guy because I think if you're going to give it a fair fight, he needs his chance. The numbers have been doing the rounds. I didn't find them before people call me a stat merchant. The numbers have been dug up and Raya beats Ramsdale on everything this season. It has been 6 games each when you include Brentford and the Community Shield for Ramsdale and you include the Champions League games for Raya. So 6 games each and Raya's coming out on top in everything. But
last couple games,
or was it everything passing related? Because I've seen a graphic where
it was everything they wanted to show us.
Okay.
So, but there's a lot.
How's
like,
he-
like
how's
a
he-
list of like 12.
How's he
There's
coming
one
out on
thing
your?
that he's
How's
not
he
coming
coming
out
out on your
on.
heart rate monitor?
Yeah, not
when,
good.
when you see him play.
Not good. That's exactly why. I would
What about
start
a very
Ramsdale.
important factor, the eye test?
Yeah, but I was having this big debate, weren't we, on Forever Arsenal about stats and stuff. Like, stats are collected from what we're watching. Like, I think sometimes they're sort of talked about like they're made up. Like, it is, you know, everything we're seeing is somewhat accumulated into stats, and it maybe gives you context to things you might miss, or sometimes supports an argument. But I agree with the general point that when I'm watching Raya, stats can't measure like how long he's taking on the ball. Maybe they can, but I haven't seen that stat. Like how he's really inviting pressure and making you feel, and what that transmits to the rest of the defenders in the team. And that's where I think Ramsdale, for all his errors and mistakes, I don't think in the last 2 years I've ever felt nervous about Ramsdale on the ball in goal. I don't know about you guys, but Raya the last few games I certainly
You know what? That's exactly.
Is Raya the sorry, Laurie? Is Raya the reason for that, or is Arteta the reason for that?
Arteta said it's on instruction.
That's what I'm.
He said it's on
So
instruction.
we need, or we, and by we I mean the people out there watching us. But we need to differentiate what it is. You know, Raya. I actually do think Raya is the better goalkeeper, but Arteta's asking him to do something that he's not as familiar with either, because he wasn't doing that for Brentford.
No. You know what I think could be a factor, and I was talking to Robbie about this just yesterday, wasn't it? And we were saying, could it be that the weight, the pressure is weighing on those guys of playing in the shirt? So if you think about it, when Raya first came into the team, his first game, think back to that. One of the things that marked him out was the confidence that he exuded. You know, I mean, the way he embraced the challenge of the shirt. Over the last 2 or 3 games, you've seen that confidence, man, diminish somewhat. So he's not looking the same. So that's why I was talking about the eye test.
There's that, but
so,
he's replaced a player that everyone loves. It's
exactly.
It's sort of like going out on a date with a girl that you still know is in love with her ex.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, it's a problem. It's a problem, and I think that's what's weighing on him.
And
you're not actually
if
seeing his full
Ramsdale does
capability
get
as a
the nod
goalkeeper as a
today,
result.
if Ramsdale gets the nod today, right, then he's going to be under an equal amount of pressure, because it's almost as if they're thinking, well, if I make a single mistake here, it's going to get magnified. I'm
But
going
that
to
is
be
the best
matched up.
possible decision, in my opinion, Arteta can make as a people's person. Listen, I'm no coach, but in terms of looking at, let's say he makes the decision to start Ramsdale. What does it do for Ramsdale? It opens the door, gives him some hope moving forward. What does it do for Raya? It asks questions. Look in the mirror.
And the rest of the team.
And whereas if it's the opposite and he does pick Raya tonight, then listen, Raya might excel with the motivation that he's got a manager that fully supports him regardless. But it could work the other way if he doesn't have the competition he needs, and then Ramsdale doesn't have that light at the end of the tunnel. Because surely now he must be thinking, am I going to get a chance? Because surely it's not only Carabao Cup that he's going to be.
Well, I think the players, again, the debate we're having on Forever Arsenal was, will this be affecting the players thinking, well, I could be replaced at any minute and not have done much wrong. But the thing is, that's just, for me, it's just high level sport. That's just the top level of sport, and they're just going to have to accept that. But where I think that does become a problem is if Ramsdale inevitably has to do way, way, way more than Raya to get into the team, when I think a lot of us agree there's not that much in it, though I agree with you. I think Raya probably is the better goalkeeper. And that's where Arteta can't play favourites. And I think sometimes he does. I think there are certain players where it feels like you will do anything to get this guy in the team, and others have to work a lot harder for it. And
to be fair to Arteta, is that because of the way he views the team, how he wants them to play? So I've had this conversation with a few people. It's not so much who straight out is the better keeper, because you can make a case for Raya being the better keeper, but I think it comes down to the way the manager wants to play going forward, and he sees Raya as the closest fit to that rather than Ramsdale. I honestly think that's what he thinks.
Well, then I want to see it. Then I really want to see it. If that's the case, then when Raya starts, I want to see us fluid as hell. I did it again. I want to see us fluid as hell.
no, I like it.
Maybe it takes time. We was in the office earlier. Cass was saying it. He was saying that he's almost like when you got Raya in the team, it's like you got another. Like he's playing that left back role almost, so you can get another person into that midfield, which is what Arteta loves. But the thing is about it is certain fundamentals. Like on Saturday, that goal from Mudryk, his positioning is all wrong, and that's the second goal he's sort of let in like that, where he was sort of all out of position, isn't it? So I don't know, man. I mean, like you said, he's replaced a guy who's loved. Nobody. There was nobody who said let's get a keeper in the summer, didn't it?
Hudson.
Right?
Yeah, Chris was the only one.
Was Chris Hudson the only one?
Supporters club, really early in the window.
On that Mudryk goal as well.
Did he say a keeper? Did he mean a keeper to start?
He said to compete.
Oh, to challenge, okay.
Yeah.
On that, if I could say very quickly, on that Mudryk goal, I was listening to Mark Bosnich, former Villa and Man United keeper, who's on Sky Sports. They were analysing that goal, and he actually went against a grain. He said, yes, Mudryk did mean that.
Yeah, Mudryk said that as well.
He did mean that.
No, hold on, let me
Rubbish.
finish. He said Mudryk did mean it, and he said that he'd nearly been caught out like that by a previous player, I forgot to mention that, and he said that Mudryk would have been briefed by the Chelsea coaches and that to have a pot because he gets it wrong coming off his line. So
Mudryk did not mean that.
Look at where Mudryk's eyes are.
You've only got to look at the replays, right?
But whether he meant it or not, he got caught out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he shouldn't have got caught out.
He did.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see Ramsdale back in tonight, personally. I think the point that Turkish makes a good point. You know what I mean? That for the team as well. You know what I mean? If you're actually saying to the guy you got a chance, this is the perfect time to put him in.
Completely agree. Let's go through. I've just seen Lucas Torreira have an effort for Galatasaray.
Yeah, just missed as well.
Decent effort. Galatasaray won Bayern Munich 1. I think Inter Milan are winning as well. Another former player, Alexis Sanchez, getting in on the goals. Let's go through some super chats, and then we've got some other sort of stats and information going into the game. AFC Max, always a regular. Thank you for just for your support, Max. Really appreciate it. Says, I want Ramsdale to start. I never understood why he was rotating in the first place when he is superior to Raya in the first place. Plus, he got us into the Champions League. Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Saliba. I love them, but they need a break. Martinelli's just back, and Saka and Saliba missed.
I can't believe people are talking
back
about
on his break thing again.
Started.
They just had a break. They've just been off for 2 weeks.
It's ridiculous.
I agree.
What people say.
He says he goes on to say the last thing I want to see is one of those four out till January. And excluding Saliba's position, I don't think we have adequate cover in that position to play in the same way with Trossard and Fabiera. They're good, but they're not them. I slightly disagree, but I kind of get your point. Mitch says, Robbie, we haven't forgot you saying Casemiro was poor on the weekend when he wasn't even in the squad. Did you say
No, I
that?
didn't say that.
Oh, fair.
Sorry, get your facts right. I did not say that. It was AGT who said it.
Okay, it wasn't.
AGT said that, not me.
Well, he
Right,
said,
so get those facts.
He said
It made me
Casemiro was poor.
He said Casemiro was poor, right? And then what made me laugh, right, is that somebody then put in the chat, they put Casemiro weren't even playing, and then he obviously saw it and he goes, actually, Casemiro was actually playing.
He tried to readjust.
Yeah.
Oh, bless. Samuel says, we need a natural number 9 so that Jesus Saka can rotate at right wing. I tweeted today that, again, on the back of 11s without Jesus in it and some of the discourse surrounding that, you're going to spend 120 million to get a better striker if you convince them. Like in the first, there's a lot of work to do to get a better version of Gabriel Jesus. And look, fine. We're Arsenal Football Club. We should be able to try that. Is Tony better than Jesus?
I don't think
out and out.
I don't think we're
Goal
looking for
scorer.
a better version than Jesus. I think we're looking for a different version of a striker.
Which I'm fine with. That's
my
great.
point.
Do that.
I don't think you do get a better version of Jesus. I can't really think of one that does that in that position.
No,
Unless you can
about
spend
that?
120
That's
million
not
on
necessarily
Osimhen
what
or
you
Ferguson
need.
becomes a striker, we
But
expect him to.
isn't
Out
that
and
what
out
we-
striker.
isn't that
Out
what we
and
talk
out
about
like
when we say
Jesus. Jesus to me better player than Tony, but as an out and out striker, what we're talking about in an out and out striker.
That's what I'm talking about when I talk about a 9.
Tony.
Yeah.
Tony's good, man.
Someone to put the ball in the back
If
of the
we're
net.
in with a shout for the title come January, then you get
Get
Tony
him.
in.
You get him.
If you're not in for a title, then you just don't panic, and in the summer you get Osimhen or Ferguson, whatever.
I'm up for that.
Well, I've just been
I'll go
told
with
that apparently the 11 has been revealed on Sky Sports, so if we can get that sent through, that'd be great. But apparently Raya does start. Lee says.
I knew Ray was.
Lee says no one else thinks that maybe terrible things happened to Ramsdale earlier in the year, and now he's just had a baby. That maybe Arsenal are looking after him. Look, that'd be a nice way of looking.
Does beg the question though, if he's not going to start tonight, when you might as well.
Have you got the 11 in front of you there? Go on, go for it.
Raya in goal.
Yep.
White, by the way, it's on AFTV's site. So Raya in goal. White, Gabriel, Saliba, Tomiyasu, Rice, Jorginho, Odegaard, Martinelli, Jesus, and Saka.
Is Partey on the bench?
No, let me see. And on the bench, Ramsdale, Hine, Smith Rowe, Nketiah, Kivior, Cedric, Trossard, Vieira, Nelson, El Neni, Havertz, and Zinchenko.
Two goalkeepers on the bench.
Yeah, in the Champions League, you always have two
like
keepers on the
12,
bench.
Partey's out.
No Partey, not even on the bench.
The guy, he did, it's true. He pulled his hamstring doing the baby reveal, didn't he? I see everyone saying. I mean,
He's just always injured, man.
how's he unavailable again?
I don't know. We can't jump to
I
conclusions.
know. Yeah,
I don't think he's.
I was
injured.
joking about the baby.
I don't think he's injured. I just think it's a decision from
yeah.
Arteta. rather
I think it's
Based on what?
I think it's one of them don't rush him back
than-
kind of thing.
What's
You
he,
can't
what's
even put him
what's
on
he
the
got?
bench.
How's he got injured since the game on the weekend?
He got injured before Man United, I think, in training. He wasn't injured.
On the
game
international
before.
play, he did play for Ghana in both their games.
Both the games, yeah.
But apparently he didn't look good, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, maybe that's why they're thinking.
No, you don't have Cedric on the bench and not Partey. Even if Partey is not looking 100%. Come on.
Yeah, something's not right. Sorry, let's just get through the super chats quickly as well.
Let me see if I try and find anything.
Raya till last season was pinging passes to target men in a Brentford team. We don't have that, and apparently we don't run in behind the defence. Sadiq says Lee judges asked who is making the decision to start Raya, then suggested the goalkeeper coach might be pulling the strings. Lee, the Ramsdale lover. Okay, let's break that down. Tomiyasu's coming for Zinchenko. Is that something we're all happy with him? He has played well, Tommy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so
I've got no issue
I
with
saw
that.
a journalist there said that Arsenal say that Partey misses the game tonight due to a muscle issue. So that's another injury.
That's great.
And this guy is so injury prone, it's unbelievable, man. We just not.
He might have actually injured it in that video, and now I'm starting to think that.
No, listen,
did you see the height of his leg?
Because what's he doing?
He absolutely swiped that balloon.
no, seriously, on
The
a
video
serious.
stops when, if you look back at that video, the video stops and he's like that. And I'm thinking, is he going to go hold his leg like
No,
something?
but on
happened?
a serious note, though, I've got some. Got a couple of Ghanaian friends that they told me that in those two games he wasn't at it, and they reckon he might be carrying an injury. That's what I was told.
Well, he's just
bro.
come back from an injury. But if they said he's got a muscle injury, muscle issue,
It could be that Arsenal assessed him when he
that
came
means
back.
it's been aggravated again. He should never.
James, when he came back from international duty, they probably assessed him and thought maybe there is some grain of truth that Because you can be carrying injury and still play. Maybe they assist him and thought he's not up to the levels that they require.
He's on the bench on Saturday though, wasn't he? He didn't come on, but he was on the bench.
Why was he allowed to go on international duty if
Again, without physio, if I'm not mistaken. Travelled without
and
physio.
played 2 games. And played 2 games.
And
I
apparently
didn't
he was
watch it.
pouring
Minutes
both
were
of them.
managed in that game. I think he was hooked at half time for one of them.
No, you did say that Chris Hughton did try and manage his minutes. But
Can I ask a question off the back of this?
Frustrating.
This ain't breaking news. Thomas Partey's got injury problems.
No.
We know this.
I know.
Has people's trust? Because I'm not one that. I believe we should have moved on from him in the summer. I think 6 months was enough. We probably could have got what we spent on him. Has people's trust in Jorginho dwindled recently? Because obviously I feel that's a factor in everyone's reaction to Partey.
I never thought he was as good as Partey in our 11. It's not really the trust in Jorginho. I just always thought that Jorginho was a step down from Partey.
Yeah, and
should we
by
have
the way,
addressed this in the summer?
I saw people out. Listen, 100%. We're going to have to buy a replacement for Thomas Partey in the summer. 100%. But what I would say with Jorginho, he was no worse than anybody else in that game on Saturday. I didn't think he was. People are saying he's.
That's not the question they're asking.
No, but the couple of games he's come in, he ain't. Apart from the only game is the Tottenham game when he made that mistake. But apart from that,
but Man City game
but he's not
highlighted
Thomas Partey.
Man City game highlighted the level when Partey came on.
Yeah.
We
To be
Partey
fair,
was on for,
Shiroy's not saying
he came on
that.
for 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Shiroy's saying, and I do agree with you, that he's a distinct downgrade on Partey.
Well, of course he is. But he's a squad player, isn't he?
Well, he's not now.
We know that.
He's not now.
Well, he's not now only because of the injuries to Thomas Partey.
Which are injuries
Thomas
that we were
Partey
warned
was
about last season. We were warned about the season before. They're recurring now. We were offered real Saudi money for Partey in the summer. We didn't take it. We needed.
I heard he didn't want to go to Saudi as well.
We needed bodies in midfield. We were talking about Rice and Caicedo. We didn't get both. We got one. We shipped out Xhaka.
You should have meant 3.
Yeah.
I don't think we could afford the 2 of them in the summer.
I'll tell you what
Rice and
concerns
Caicedo.
me.
But
we're in October.
We signed the last 3 windows. We signed Fabio Vieira for 35 million, Jorginho for 12
Whatever
million,
up to him, by the
Declan
way.
Rice for 105 million, and yet we're here going into either the next window or the next summer going, yeah, we need another 8. Oh, and Havertz for 65.
Yeah, I was about to say you forgot that one.
So it's like,
But as I said,
he gave Smith Rowe a new contract to the number 10, but seems to trust him in really weird occasions. Now, there's 5 potential answers there, but now because 3 or 4 of them aren't looking like the right profile, Rice is ending up ultimately he's going to have to be our long-term number 6 because Partey isn't for the coming years. We know Jorginho's aging, so we're going to have to sign another bit of depth for Rice, and then another starting 8.
I always feel we were going to do that anyway. Partey was not going to be. Partey, I feel this is his last year at Arsenal. Regardless, even if he had a great season, injury-free, I think they'd be looking to replace him at the end of the season. Jorginho's the backup. Partey's injured. We're playing the backup. At least it ain't like it was last season.
I hear what you're
if it was
saying.
last season and Partey out, we're in trouble. We haven't got Rice or Jorginho. At least we've got some proper cover.
I do.
Yes, it's not the same level, but we've got proper cover.
I do hear what you're saying, but like, there's another. I can't remember where I heard it. There was another interesting discussion on Arsenal last season saying Arsenal had barely any injuries. Yeah, we lost to Liverpool, but my thing was, in the 38 Premier League games, we went out 6 times with our best 11. So yeah, there's good depth, and yeah, there's quality that we can call on to a degree. I think Jorginho is definitely good enough for probably 90-95% of games we're going to play across the season. But my thing is,
I disagree.
when can we just?
I disagree.
Well, you think there's more
I
than
think
5
that
to 10%?
figure's a bit high, 90%, 95%.
85%. Happy to negotiate. My point is, when are we going to go out there with just our best 11?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we could have
I don't think
Arteta's
best 11 is our best 11. That's the point.
Then again,
But if he keeps playing Jorginho with Rice, if he keeps playing Rice in the box-to-box as he's done now for the 3rd game in a row, he clearly sees that as a viable option.
Why is he doing that?
Because he doesn't trust Havertz and Vieira and all them.
Correct.
So he's come around to our way
you
of thinking from 2 months ago. And everyone kept saying, oh, the fans, what do they know?
But you're then talking about 2 bad decisions in midfield, aren't you? Because you're talking about the replacement that you got for Xhaka not being good enough, which means you have to displace your landmark signing to move him to the 6, and then you're talking about not replacing your starting midfielder who's always injury prone. Now, what you're saying about Jorginho perhaps being good enough for 90 or 95% of games, I'd ask myself a different question. Are you confident that Arsenal Football Club can win the Premier League with Jorginho in midfield for 90 to 95% of games?
Yeah, but that's as I said, he's cover. But and
look at the
also,
midfielders that
I
went
think you've got
around
to
this year.
take into account the games that we're talking about, right? So the first game, right? Where Jorginho came in up against Man City. So he's trying to bolster that midfield, make it a bit more solid. You've got Rice and Jorginho in there. Then we're going away to Chelsea, same sort of thing. He's trying to bolster that. Now we've got to go difficult game away at Sevilla. Maybe if this was, say it had been straight into the Sheffield United game, it might have been, say, Havertz or someone else in that midfield rather than. But I think he's trying to, you know, this is a difficult game, so you've got to have a solid midfield.
I'm just stripping it back though. If I spend 105 and 65, I shouldn't really be questioning who's starting in my midfield.
Shouldn't be, but
that's my point.
Shouldn't be, but if that player that you paid 65 for hasn't hit the ground running in that position, you've got to do what's best for the games. You know what I mean?
But that was foreseeable.
Just because you pay 65 for him, don't mean he starts immediately.
Yeah.
You know?
Laurie, you want to?
Yeah, I was just going to make the point. For me, and I'm going to use a boxing parlance here, I consider Jorginho to be a journeyman player. He was once a very good player. He's not at those levels anymore. I agree with you. I think if we're going to win the title and win the big things, I'm not so sure you're going to do that with someone like Jorginho.
Listen, sometimes you have them type of players, man. I saw City. Remember when they had Fernandinho there? Man was about 35.
Come on, that's not a good comparison.
He was always athletic.
No, but I'm just saying.
Incredible for them.
I'm just saying. Yeah, but I'm saying he was an old player. Yeah, he's an old.
I'm talking about ability, not age.
No, I'm just trying to say. Laurie said journeyman, right? Jorginho can still get around the pitch, right? Right. You know, they got tonight. We're up against Sevilla. Rakitic is in the midfield. He's about 34, 35. So that experience sometimes can help. He's a backup player. If everybody was fit, he wouldn't be starting. I don't think so anyway. I don't think he'd be starting in there. I think Partey would start with Rice. That's what I really want. I think the frustration is what we all really want to see. We're desperate to see it. We've not really seen it apart from 10 minutes in the City game.
Yeah, I think it's just that when you look at the midfield and Arteta's attempts to address it, I think, and I haven't settled on, listen, even on Havertz, who's made a poor start, I haven't settled on whether that's been a success or a failure. Obviously, I'm not saying anything is going to be a success right now. Fabio Vieira, look, while he's shown some quality, we know it's leaning more one direction than another. The Smith Rowe new contract, and when we play these, fast wingers, you're thinking, well, he's got to make it into midfield, but has he actually ever shown that much in midfield? There are a lot of players that I just go, Arteta, you've actually added quite a lot into midfield, and I'm not sure.
Away from home tonight, that midfield has to be solid.
Yeah.
You put a Vieira in there tonight in a game like this. I don't think so. You don't start with a player like that. But or a Havertz. Make that midfield solid. That's why Tomiyasu's coming for Zinchenko. We're away from home, man. Let's be solid, right? Let's be sensible in this game. You know what I mean? Sheffield United on Saturday, them man here could possibly come back in. But right now, this is a tough away game against Sevilla. We're going to have to be solid at the back. We're going to have to, as they say, suffer a lot in the game and try not to concede. We all said it at the start. If we can take a draw out of this, that's decent. Although I want to see a win tonight.
For everything
Get
I've
back
said,
on the winning ways.
Yeah, for everything I've said, this is the balance of midfield I prefer. If Partey's not available, I'd still rather get Rice in the box. I'd still rather have Jorginho there than trying to force one of Vieira or Havertz to get it right.
I agree.
Havertz was a make or break signing.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And I know a lot of fans don't like the sound of that, but it is. Because at the end of the day, you know what it is, yeah? We've all talked about tactical tweaks here. We've all talked about the adjustment and the impact it's had and the potential impact it may have moving forward. But the reality is, as an Arsenal fan who, for the first time last season in years, felt something on the horizon, I wanted 2 steps forward from that position, not 2 steps back, in the hope that we go 4 steps forward. Yeah. I just think that what I've seen so far this season, albeit unbeaten in the league, it just hasn't filled me with as much confidence as what I saw last season. Is that because my expectation?
Missing granite.
It's not even like, you know what? You know what it is, Rob. You're not far from being wrong there, because the choice in his upgrade from Mikel Arteta has made me think that Xhaka should have stayed even more than I actually did want him to stay, because I did want Xhaka to stay come the end of it, because last year he turned it around, but I wanted an upgrade on him. Instead we lost him, and the upgrade we got does make me miss Xhaka at times. But that's more an indication of what I think about the upgrade than it is me saying, if Xhaka's available in January, let's go and get him.
And that's not even hindsight, because if you asked all of us in the window, would you rather keep Xhaka or bring in Havertz and get rid of Xhaka, what would the answer be?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it was obvious.
Even with my opinion on Xhaka, I would have said,
there you go. There you go. And my point is, when you're on the cusp of something really special towards the back end of last year, and you know that you don't really need to plug too many holes, you've taken a risk in midfield, you've done something very unorthodox in the goalkeeping position, and there are other areas of the pitch that we thought we needed to address as primary positions that we didn't. So it's more that the risks that we've taken all across the board when we didn't think we were that far off that's make or break.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's get some super chats in. You've all had your say on this. Rizvan says, Arteta's orchestrating his own problems. We didn't need a competition for a goalkeeper. We needed improvement in midfield and attacking areas. 65 million for Havertz. Hope it works out for Arteta. He's playing high-stakes poker. Joe Allen says, Trossard in the attacking midfield position with Jorginho out. I think he's suggesting that as an option. I like Trossard. I actually think his skill set's probably quite suited to playing the way Santi did in midfield. But I think that's
sensible. So be sensible to start off with it in particular. To me, I mean, we do that later on if it ain't going our way. But right now, away from home, be sensible in this game. That's how I'm looking at it.
Ash says fans oppose the idea of Partey being sold in the summer. Says he should have been sold back then. Look, I mean, I wanted to keep because I didn't want to make too many changes. The minute we lost Xhaka, I maybe would have been okay with us signing Rice and then losing Partey. I probably could have been okay with that. My thing was, don't tear apart the midfield that led you to this great
funny thing
title
is,
shot.
I remember I was like saying we should sign that Lavia, but he's been injured. He hasn't played a game. So that's football, isn't it? He hasn't played a game for Chelsea. He's still injured.
Yeah,
but if you take the risk and the player gets injured, you don't shit on the manager. No one's criticising the manager for buying Timber. Everyone's wishing that Timber came back.
Yeah.
This is more a question of the player's fit. He walked into the starting 11 in midfield, was underwhelming, and then got dropped. And you're now having to reinvent the wheel in midfield because of that decision.
And I don't buy the money thing, man. I don't want to take it back to 2 years ago and talk about the ownership and whatnot, but I think we could have spent a hell of a lot more money than we did. Our net spend was 130 million.
Financial fair play.
Yeah, but our net spend was lower this summer than it has been in the previous 2 summers after we've had our best season or the free. I can't understand that.
I think we shifted players terribly this summer. Sorry, I know I'm digressing, but
probably again one of the better summers of the last 3 because we spent about 210 mil and we got back about 80 mil. So our net spend was roughly 130 to 140 mil for a team that's just finished second and has hopes to pip City. We spent 130 million net.
That makes a lot.
That doesn't sound like enough.
Come on, man. We spent a lot of money, man.
No. The Declan Rice transfer tricked
broke the records.
Rice transfer
most expensive signing in Europe.
Yeah, but it tricked us. It came early. We thought, yes, we were really going for it. And then at that point, City had lost Gundogan, lost Mahrez, so it looked like City were weaker. Come the last 4 weeks of the window, we did nothing. Or we brought Raya in, which is still up for debate now, whether that's improved us. Timber was early. Timber, Havertz, Rice were early. We did nothing until Raya after. Whereas Man City brought in Doku, Nunes, and they all of a sudden seemed a bit stronger. 130 million net spend is not much to spend. That's why I still think there was room to, whether that's on Arteta and his, belief that this is the squad he wanted.
There's always time to address it in January.
City stronger?
I personally don't think City are stronger.
I don't think they're stronger.
But I do think
Doku's a good signing.
Doku for me is what I want Tony to be for us, a different dimension.
Yeah.
City play with those wingers who are creative and their movement is superb, but sometimes you need a wild card and Doku's unreal.
I mean, Gavardio's a good signing, but
who's he replaced? He's replaced their 100 million winger. That's the level that City operate at. Doku's a good player, but he comes on for Grealish.
And he starts ahead of Grealish.
There you go.
That's a really good point. Let's go through his final super chats. Remember, if you download the AFTV Plus app, which is completely free to do on iPhones, Androids, whatever it is you might have, you can join us to have your say at full time on the Full Time Show. Win, lose or draw, we will be there. And we're even clipping a lot of them up to go up on AFTV. So essentially, it's your version of a fan cam with me, Turkish, Robbie, the team as well. So do look out for that. Very easy, free to do. As Harry Kane scores for Harry Kane?
Yeah, but I think it's an own goal.
Might be an own goal. Bayern Munich lead at Galatasaray.
He's banging in the goals.
That's not what Manchester United fans would
banging
want.
in
So
the goals.
enjoy that at least. First time in a while I've actually not had a problem with a Harry Kane goal that I've watched. Like I said, download the AFTV Plus app, free to do, and you can have your say on full time. Prathamesh says, Rice doesn't work in the 8th position. Rice and Jorginho both can't receive passes in tight areas or on the half turn. It leads to too many backwards passes. But my thing was, I didn't see Granit Xhaka doing like anything exceptional on the ball. I just felt his positioning, his movement off the ball to kind of break beyond the lines and get forward. and then drop back to support his defensive midfield. He was just a classic box-to-box. Let me press and get involved forward. Let me get back and help defend.
Because of what Partey did.
He also
Yeah.
did,
Because of what
James,
Partey did.
he also did weigh in with some very important goals last season. So.
But Rice can do that, right? Rice has 2 goals for us already, scored 4 for
No, I'm
West
saying he
Ham
can't. I'm just saying
Like
that.
Xhaka played in a much more free-flowing side where he'd pick it up in the 8 position with space, whereas the way we're playing now, methodical, slow, controlling. When Rice picks it up in the 8, he ain't got that same space that Xhaka had last season. And I actually agree with the guy that Rice is more a 6 for me than an 8.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think
more
the
a
8
6.
now, whoever plays there, it's going to be a lot tighter because of the way we play. We're not 2-3 passes used to get us up the pitch last season. 2-3 passes now, it's back to Raya.
Yeah.
That's a big difference in our style of play.
Yeah, agreed. Ronan says, if Tommy's a left back, why not Zinchenko in midfield?
Listen, or away from home. Keep saying it, man. Careful.
Because Zinchenko ain't a good
Careful,
enough
bit of
passer to
caution.
be in midfield. That's the thing. He's
You
good.
think?
He's good in the
He's a
overload.
good passer, man.
He's not a good passer.
I think it's
No,
like
he's
the
a good
only
passer.
thing-
Good
I
at
think that's
breaking
the only
lines with
thing
his
he's
passing.
like elite at. I think everything else.
No, he's not.
really
He's not good.
suffers.
He's not a good enough
Not
passer
suffers,
to
but-
start in midfield. He's a good enough passer to come into
Starts
midfield.
in midfield for Ukraine. No, I think he could start in midfield.
Yeah,
but
well,
right
That's
now,
interesting because I think he lacks a lot of the other things I'd want a midfielder to have. Which
I've
is
never
where
seen a
changed
good
my tune.
passer, someone labelled a good passer, give the ball away as much as I've seen Zinchenko give the ball away.
Oh, but I think
takes a lot of
he's a
risk.
terrible decision maker.
It takes a lot of risk.
Yeah.
Some of the balls he gives away is into the centre circle.
Yeah.
What risk is there? What are you doing?
But some of them are really adventurous passes.
yeah, because
Some
he's
of them,
trying to break lines.
Some of them. I don't think he's good enough to start there. He's good in the overload when he's the extra man there.
Yeah, I think he gets bullied.
the
If
extra
he's the
space.
only man in midfield there, I think he gets
100%.
bullied.
Unless you have like 80% possession. Dave Jordan says, will one of these shows ever be positive?
I'm positive.
Oh, wait for my prediction.
We're being positive. We're just a bit
Wait for my
annoyed
prediction.
about.
But I don't detect any negativity. I think we
No,
just
but
been.
Laurie, people misinterpret you questioning something and
Yeah.
having a
I think
conversation
people need
around
to
it
get
as
the
being
balance
negative.
right.
I haven't heard any ranting or moaning or
If
issues.
Cecil
with-
was here, he'd be proper negative. Mate.
He was caught on Sky
That's the
Sports.
next-
He's
Yeah.
catching strays and he's in Spain.
Yeah.
The fear would be emanating from his
Oh my
pores.
god, man.
And Kai asked the same question, what's wrong with Zinchenko in the air? So a few people are asking, well listen,
I
I'll tell
think, you know,
you what's
sorry
wrong
to-
with it. I'm already 80-0 down to you, Robbie, and I'll bet of Zinchenko being a midfielder.
Have you paid him? I thought that was a one-season deal.
Yeah, he ain't paid yet.
We've got some super chats. Can you stop interrupting?
You ain't paid me for forever Arsenal
We've got some
either.
super chats.
you might
Can
not
I
charge
robbed
interest.
your
Hold on,
guy,
this
man.
is-
You've got to charge interest.
This is
now.
really rude.
Yeah.
We're running
You
a
gotta
show
charge
here,
interest.
and you guys keep jumping
Yeah,
in.
well, lock off the
Sorry.
show and get on your banking app.
Well,
You gotta
yeah,
charge
let's move.
interest.
So, TT, I'm trying to read your super chat, but they keep talking over. I'm not sure about what. Let me spend some useless money like Arsenal, says TT. Fair enough.
Boss.
There you go.
Chris says, doesn't FFP span over 3 seasons?
I don't know how it works. man.
Maybe my bets with
I
you
don't know
two
how
should
it
as well. Abdullah says, first games with Timber, we had more like a back 3. We do miss Timber, there's no doubt. And a super chat came in from Adam as well. All right, predictions to round it all off. Sharora, you were suggesting it was going to be a positive one. So where are you going?
1-0
1-0 Sevilla,
to
yeah?
us. 1-0 to us.
You think we'll nick it?
Yeah.
It'll be a great night. Go on.
1-1.
Is that what you said forever Arsenal?
That's a 2-2. I just thought let me be different, but draw.
Yeah, I think it will be 1-1. That's why I went with it forever. I'll stick with it. Go on.
2-1 to Arsenal.
Okay, think they'll nick it. Laurie?
I'm trying to think of a result that none of you have said already, but won't make me look silly.
Why
Let
don't you
me,
say
let,
what you
me-
think it
let me
why
guess. Let me guess. By 2 clear goals.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to say that tonight. You know what? I'm erring towards the draw thing. 2-2.
What I love about Laurie's predictions is he'll go vague by saying by 2 clear goals. He won't give you a score. Then he'll go, but Eddie and Havertz to score. I'm like, just give us a score.
So it's only me that's gone for a win.
No, Rob.
Oh, you went for a win. 2-1. Okay.
2-1 Sevilla, says Nairby. We've got Kai says 2-0 Sevilla. Nathaniel says 1-1. BS78 says, leave James alone. Global financial crisis. Thank you. Thank you for having my back. Also,
That's why people need their money.
Exactly.
sure, you are the world's worst lawyer, honestly.
We're going to talk after this. Don't
Honestly,
The
worry.
problem is I
You
represent half of this team. That's the problem.
You represent everyone. So
Turkey-
when we've
Turkey-
got...
Stop with these pictures over there in Turkey, man. Look at that.
Yeah, don't worry, man.
Galatasaray pitch, what's
It's,
that?
it's atmosphere. It's
It's like they're playing a game down in allotment.
you know what they say. You know what they say there. Welcome to hell. You can't come onto a carpet if they're saying welcome to hell. You need to come onto
They're
Sunday
giving
league
them
pitch.
they're giving Bayern Munich a tough time.
And look, it nearly worked. 2-1 down. They've had worse.
Ash says
We've had worse against Bayern.
facing low blocks in Europe this year, not last year. I think that's true of the season. That actually, I think teams are realising it's 3-1 for
3-1.
Bayern Munich. Is that who got that?
You jinxed it, Rob. Well done.
Great goal,
Musiala, lovely goal.
What a bad
Jinxed
man he
it.
is.
It's quality.
He's
Good player. Been linked
He's
with a lot of
English as
English
well.
Absolute bad man.
Was he in the Chelsea
Could have had
academy?
Musiala. He used to be with Bellingham. Could have had Musiala and Bellingham in the England team.
Yeah, top players. All right, thank you for sending in your predictions. We've got everyone's here as well. I think we've gone 3 draws and 2 wins as the predictions on the sofas. Everyone, like I said, download the AFTV Plus app because we want to hear from you at full time. That's what it's there for. We get plenty of chance to talk about everything Arsenal related. It's your chance to join us on FANZONE, not only after the games, but during the week as well. So look out for them. We'll be running a Friday stream as well. We'll be back in about 20-25 minutes for the start of the Watch Along Arsenal kickoff at 8 p.m. UK time. And it's a big one because now we're match week 3, probably our hardest game on paper tonight, away at Sevilla. Sergio Ramos in the Champions League, we know the pedigree he's got. It's a big opportunity for Arsenal to take control of this group and really ease things as we try to get momentum and fluidity, Turkish's favourite word, back in this team. All right, everyone, we'll see you in 20-25 minutes.